Hey friends, welcome back to my channel Bees Psychology. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. To thine own self be true. Parting is such sweet sorrow. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. The course of true love never did run smooth. All that glitters is not gold. Brevity is the soul of wit. Love looks not with the eyes, but with the mind, and therefore is winged Cupid painted blind. How sharper than a serpent's tooth it is to have a thankless child. This above all, to thine own self be true. Cowards die many times before their deaths, the valiant never taste of death but once. There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. When words are scarce they are seldom spent in vain. It is not in the stars to hold our destiny but in ourselves. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves, that we are underlings. The quality of mercy is not strained, it droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath. It is twice blessed, it blesseth him that gives and him that takes. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players, they have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. I have no spur to prick the sides of my intent, but only vaulting ambition, which overleaps itself and falls on the other. The web of our life is of a mingled yarn, good and ill together. What's done can't be undone. The evil that men do lives after them, the good is oft interred with their bones. Neither a borrower nor a lender be, for loan oft loses both itself and friend. The devil hath power to assume a pleasing shape. Give every man thy ear, but few thy voice. If music be the food of love, play on. Love all, trust a few, do wrong to none. Better a witty fool than a foolish wit. There is a special providence in the fall of a sparrow. There is no darkness but ignorance. The miserable have no other medicine but only hope. The lunatic, the lover, and the poet are of imagination all compact. This is the excellent foppery of the world, that when we are sick in fortune, we make guilty of our disasters the sun, the moon, and the stars, as if we were villains by necessity. How far that little candle throws his beams! So shines a good deed in a naughty world. Oh, it is excellent to have a giant's strength, but it is tyrannous to use it like a giant. All's well that ends well. As flies to wanton boys, are we to the gods, all the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. Love looks not with the eyes, but with the mind, and therefore is winged Cupid painted blind. This above all, to thine own self be true. Brevity is the soul of wit. To thine own self be true, and it must follow, as the night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. Cowards die many times before their deaths, the valiant never taste of death but once. The course of true love never did run smooth. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. We know what we are, but know not what we may be. All that glitters is not gold. If music be the food of love, play on. The first thing we do, let's kill all the lawyers. With mirth and laughter let old wrinkles come. What's done cannot be undone. There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves. Oh, beware, my lord, of jealousy, it is the green-eyed monster which doth mock the meat it feeds on. To be wise and love exceeds man's might. The only thing that could spoil a day was people. People were always the limiters of happiness except for the very few that were as good as spring itself. When I am working on a book or a story, I write every morning as soon after first light as possible. There is no one to disturb you, and it is cool or cold, and you come to your work and warm as you write. All things truly wicked start from innocence. The best way to find out if you can trust somebody is to trust them. The world is a fine place and worth the fighting for, and I hate very much to leave it. I love sleep. My life has the tendency to fall apart when I'm awake, you know. The first and final thing you have to do in this world is to last it and not be smashed by it. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day to the last syllable of recorded time. If you prick us, do we not bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh? If you poison us, do we not die? And if you wrong us, shall we not revenge? Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player, that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. The better part of valor is discretion. I like this place and willingly could waste my time in it. To have done is to hang quite out of fashion, like a rusty mail in monumental mockery. How sharper than a serpent's tooth it is to have a thankless child. What a piece of work is a man! How noble in reason, how infinite in faculty! In form and moving how express and admirable! In action how like an angel, in apprehension how like a god! All the infections that the sun sucks up from bogs, fens, flats, on Prosper fall and make him by inchmeal a disease. I have no spur to prick the sides of my intent, but only vaulting ambition, which overleaps itself and falls on the other. I hold the world but as the world, Gratiano, a stage where every man must play a part, and mine a sad one. How sweet the moonlight sleeps upon this bank! Here will we sit, and let the sounds of music creep in our ears, soft stillness and the night become the touches of sweet harmony. Love is not love which alters when it alteration finds. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. The course of true love never did run smooth. If music be the food of love, play on. Neither a borrower nor a lender be, for loan oft loses both itself and friend. To thine own self be true, and it must follow, as the night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. The lady doth protest too much, methinks. Oh, beware, my lord, of jealousy, it is the greeny-widey monster, which doth mock the meat it feeds on. The quality of mercy is not strandy, it droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven. Cowards die many times before their deaths, the valiant never taste of death but once. There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves.